So now we're ready to move on to step 5, and we're going to practice creating a citation from a web page. So let's look at that information here on our instructions. And we're going to a web page called Debunking the Voter Fraud Myth. So this is an open web page. It doesn't require any sign-on. And we can see that it's an article. It's from a place called the Brennan Center for Justice. And I can see we can download a PDF. Seems to have a lot of information there. I'll just skim it very quickly. Okay, then it has more information about the organization at the bottom. So let's see what NoodleTools is going to ask us for. Let's start a new source. And this is not a database. Where did we find this? We found it on the open web. So it's a website. What is it? Well, let's go back and look at it a little bit. It looks like a web page. It looks like it's called a resource. So it looks like a web article. It doesn't say that it's a blog. It doesn't say that it's a newspaper article. Even if it were a newspaper article, because it would be reproduced in a website, it's still considered a web page. So a lot of the information you find on the open free web is really going to be cited as a web page. So in this case, let's choose web page and let's see what it's asking us for. Well, first the URL. Okay, here the URL is not too long. I'm just going to copy that right in. It's asking us for the date of publication. Let's see if we can find that. Seems to be, I think I saw it. Yep, right up top here, January 31st, 2017. So, date of publication, January 31st. There. Sonny, my yellow lab, is snoring. He had a really good play session outside, so he's snoring on the bed. Please don't snore, honey. Okay. And then the most recent date of access, clearly that's today. Contributors. Well, let's look at the possibilities. We have authors, we have editors, we have translators. Let's see if we can find an author. I will tell you, I have looked up and down and all around, and this looks to me like a compilation, a report from the Brennan Center for Justice that the center itself is taking ownership of. I do not find a person's name listed. No, I've looked a little bit more than I'm looking right now. You would need to click around a little and look more, but I don't think you'll find it, so we're going to leave that blank. Well, is there a translator? No, because it's in English. Let's see if we can find an editor. I don't know if we'll be able to. So to do that, there's no editor listed on this page. The only way that I could do that was to go to the About and then Staff. Really important to go to the About site of any website so you can see sort of who's responsible. In doing that, I see that a number of different people are listed in leadership positions. One of these people, I'm looking for someone who's in charge of being an editor for the web page itself. So one fast way to do that, if I don't find it right away, is to do a quick page search and look for the word editor. And here I see that there's an editorial director of communications, okay? And then there's a senior editor of communications. And I think that because Josh Bell is referred to as a senior editor, communications means he's in the Department of Communications, then I think I'm going to use him. I think that would be fair as an editor of this website. So he's ultimately responsible for the information that's there. Now, a web page or a document article. Okay, these can be two different things. In this case, the web page article, let's say, is the Brennan Center for Justice. That's the name of the website. But this particular resource really is a specific article. It's called Debunking the Voter Fraud Myth. So I think that's the most appropriate thing for us to use here. Once again, no English translation. If there were no article, you could click Untitled. Now the name of the website. Well, I think that's pretty clear. It's called the Brennan Center for Justice. Lots of times we can't copy and paste these things because we see it's just a logo. So in that case, I might go to the bottom and see if the Brennan Center for Justice is copied at the bottom, and it is. Now, that name has changed a little. The name of the website is the Brennan Center for Justice, and at the bottom, it says at NYU Law. Well, then I have to decide, is the NYU Law School the publisher? So I have to make some executive decisions here. I do see that the copyright is Brennan Center for Justice at NYU Law. And really the person or organization that holds the copyright is the publisher. So there we have the name of the website and we have the publisher. The contributors to the site as a whole, I think once again, I can take Josh Bell. And it seemed as though I could go back and find some additional names. And I had done that search for editor, and I came up with editorial director. So I think that she probably is also, would be fair to say, a contributor or contributing editor. And so I'm going to add a contributor, and I'm going to add her name there. Let's see what other information it wants from me. An addition, version, or revision, I didn't see anything there. It said something like revised from a particular date. I need to be in the article. It just has a published date. Let's see what else it wants. An annotation, and that really seems to be it. So I'm going to save this. It's saved, as you notice, in alphabetical order. And I'm going to do what we did before, which is I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it into my instructions for right here in that same form. And that was step 5. So I can paste it right into there. And at that point, I'll go back and see what I need to do next. Once again, in order to do this step, you can go over the same instructions that I just talked about, which are in step 5 here. And then after that, you're going to go on to step 6.